Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Ayodhya chapter number 14. Kaikeyi's triumph. The recitation begins now. The pitiful sight of her husband and lord, beside himself with poignant grief at being torn away with violent hands from the side of his son and writhing in the dust and dirt, made not the slightest impression on her sinful heart. It was nothing to her that he was a puissant emperor of the glorious house of Ikshvaku. She never wavered from her fell purpose, but struck at him again and again. A fine king truly! He is profuse in his promises and grants any boon I may desire, but now he holds back, a pitiful sinner to truth and virtue. I cannot for my life conceive what makes him roll there on the ground as if he were called upon to make a great and sudden sacrifice. Here, sir, bear in mind that you have to keep your promise to the very letter. Truth is the highest dharma. Thus say those who have sounded its depths. I do but ask you to act consistently with dharma in its noblest form of fulfilled faith. King Shibi, your noble ancestor, once passed his word to a vulture and gave his flesh for it to feed upon and won the worlds of light. Alarka, the royal sage, promised a learned Brahmana to grant him anything he asked for. Give me sight, give me your eyes, said the strange petitioner, and Alarka gladly deprived himself of his eyes to keep his plighted word. And the Lord of the ocean will find it no difficult task to break his bounds, yet he never dreams of it, bound by a promise he has made to the suppliant lords. The Supreme Brahman, the goal of all aspirations and efforts, finds no higher manifestation than truth. Dharma flourishes in the rich soil of truth. The eternal wisdom of the Vedas teaches nothing higher than truth. It is the surest means to realize our farthest hopes. And if there glows in you any spark of desire to lead a life of dharma, hold fast to truth. Do you not rank yourself among the good and the great in the world? Is it not your proud boast that none sought your presence in vain? Then let not my boons go to waste. Banish Rama to the woods and earn a more righteous fame. Grant the earnest prayer of one whom you hold next to your heart. Once, twice, and thrice do I warn you. If you heed it not and put insult and slight upon me, my blood will be on your head. Thus did Kaikeyi goad him on, every moment, surer of her triumph, while the poor king valiantly strove to free himself from the bonds of his plighted word, even as Bali the Asura struggled impotently to cast off the noose thrown round him by the Lord Vishnu when he came down on earth as Upendra. Helpless and confused as a bull prisoned between the yoke and the wheels, the woe-begone face and the lackluster eyes, he groped and staggered a while as one bereft of sight. But his pride as a warrior king of the line of Ikshvaku and his keen natural intelligence came to his rescue. With a mighty effort he calmed himself and put on a bold front. "Sinful wretch," cried he, "here do I fling away from me that cursed hand which I grasped in holy wedlock when the priests chanted the sacred texts over us and the bright god of fire bore witness to the solemn rite. Here do I put away from me once for all the wicked offspring of that marriage. The pale shades of night flee in wild tumults before the fiery arrows of the Lord of Day. The sages and the Brahmanas are even now at my doors, whipping up my laggard spirit to hasten the coronation of Rama. Well, it is a very congenial piece of work to do, quite in your line. You can utilize the very materials brought together for Rama's coronation to perform my funeral obsequies. If you raise a barrier between my people and their wishes, neither you nor your precious son shall offer with your sinful hands any libations of water to my manes. My eyes are grown accustomed to see the countenances of my people blossom with anticipated joy of Rama's coronation. How shall I bring myself to behold the very same people with downcast looks and gloomy faces? The sun and the stars paled in sorrow to hear the old king's lament, and despairing, as it were, of doing him any good, left him far behind and passed on. A happy night it was in a way, and holy in that the forlorn father, albeit grievously wounded to the heart, was ever kept in remembrance of Rama. Kaikeyi viewed the glad morn with envious eyes of infinite suppleness and adaptability. She changed her tactics and turned upon the stricken king with redoubled fury. Your words caused me unendurable agony, even as some dire malady poison bread. This moment you shall send for Rama. Place my son on the throne, banish Rama to the woods, see me clear through all opposition, and keep your sworn faith to me. Even as some lordly elephant struck deep with a sharp goad, Dasaratha writhed beneath the cruel words of winged venom and cried, Woe is me! The bond of dharma crushed my heart, and I must even keep my word to the she-devil. Alas, my senses desert me, and I know not what to do. Yet I would see my Rama once again ere he quits his unnatural father. Day broke, the sun beamed on his children, the auspicious hour fixed for Rama's coronation drew near. The saintly Vasistha, the mirror of all perfections, human and divine, entered the city and his disciples in his wake, with everything ready for the solemn rite. The roads were neatly swept, well watered, and strewn thick with fragrant flowers. Bright flags and lofty bannerets waved from every house. Garlands and gay arches spanned the streets at close intervals. The stores and shops were invitingly open, rich with rare products of nature and art. Groups of happy men and women were scattered over the roads and squares, eagerly discussing the all-absorbing subject. Rare and costly perfumes rolled in heavy waves in the morning breeze. The sage had his bath in the holy Sarayu, his prayers said. He now took his way to the royal palace through the fair city that cast into shade the capital of Indra. Brahmanas, citizens, provincials, and experts in sacrificial lore that had an honored seat before the king all awaited the presence of Dasaratha. He left them behind and reached the seraglio, where he espied Sumantra, the charioteer, coming out of it. Vasistha stopped the king's confidential adviser and said, I leave it to your keen intelligence to announce my presence here to His Majesty. Vessels of gold, filled from the bosom of the ocean and from Ganga's sin-cleansing wave, a beautifully carved seat of Udumbara wood, every kind of seed, perfumes, gems, honey, curds, clarified butter, fried rice, holy grass, flowers, milk, 8 winsome damsels, an elephant in rut, a chariot and 4, a magnificent sword, a bow, palanquins, a moon-white umbrella, fleecy chowries, a gold vase inlaid with precious stones, a bowl of spotless white graced with the garlands of gold, a noble lion with 4 fangs, a horse of immense strength and energy, a throne spread with a tiger's skin, sacrificial fire, instrumental music, courtesans, priests, brahmanas, cows, sacred animals, and birds. All are ready against Rama's coronation. Citizens, provincials, heads of clans, the craft and guilds with their masters, royal visitors, and the common folk called down sweet blessings on the head of Rama and looked forward to the happy occasion of his coronation. The day has begun, the auspicious star and the moment grow apace, and Rama is to be consecrated to his high office even then. Go, hasten, His Majesty. Sumantra returned to the seraglio, singing loud the praises of the king. He was a very dear friend to Dasaratha, old in years and virtue. He had free access to the women's apartments, and the wardens there passed him through them unquestioned. He was utterly ignorant of the wretched plight in which his royal master was. He drew near the curtains with joined palms of reverence, began all innocently to sing the praises of his lord and master in apt and well-chosen terms. The Lord of waters overflows with joy when he sees his radiant friends, the sun and the moon, rise on the horizon. Rise thou on your horizon and gladden our hearts. It was at this moment that Matali, the charioteer of Indra, lauded high his celestial master and inspired him with joy and energy to triumph over the Danavas. Even so do I, your charioteer, venture to sing your praises no less high and rouse you to joy and victory. The Vedas, the Vedangas, sciences and arts rouse Brahma, the demiurge, to his duties, and I announce to your majesty the dawn of a new day and its attendant duties. The sun and the moon gently break upon the slumbers of the tired earth. Even so do I seek to call you back from the realms of sweet sleep. May it please your majesty to come forth, dressed in the gorgeous robes of state as befits the day of Rama's coronation. Sail into our horizon in all your glory and splendor, like the sun on the golden Mount Meru. May the sun, the moon, Shiva, Kubera, Varuna, Agni, Indra, and the other gods of the shining ones crown your arms with success. The happy night has drawn to an end and has ushered in the happier day when all the beings will rejoice to see Rama's brows adorned with the crown of the Ikshvakus. Your commands have been joyfully carried out to the very letter, and it behooves your majesty to brighten us with your presence and direct us further. Everything is ready towards the coronation rite. Citizens, provincials, merchants, brahmanas, and many others await your majesty's arrival, and I came to announce the saintly Vasistha. I pray you give immediate commands to begin the happy function of the day. Your subjects yearn for the sight of your royal countenance, even as a herd without their leader, the armies without their general, the knight without its queen, or the cows without their bull. So sang Sumantra, eager to please his monarch and congratulate him on the happiness that was in store for him. But his words fell like so many drops of molten lead on the bleeding heart of Dasaratha. The righteous king, in the midst of his splendor and power, was a pitiable sight, with swollen eyes, red with weeping. He sent back a plaintive reply, Sumantra, your words do but lacerate a heart already tortured beyond words. Sumantra stood aghast and bending his looks at the wan face of his friend and master, he bowed with low reverence over his joined palms and withdrew in silence. But Kaikeyi, ever watchful of her interests, as became the daughter of a king, was furious with Dasaratha for not having ordered Rama into his presence. She called back Sumantra and said, Friend Sumantra, His Majesty has passed a sleepless night talking over the happy event afoot today. He was sleeping even as he came in. Speak to Rama's palace and bring him here as quickly as you can. Delay not, but look sharp about it. But Sumantra replied respectfully, I may not go from hence until the king orders it. Then Dasaratha spoke to him and said, Sumantra, I would see Rama of bright presence as soon as I can. Fetch him hither. The aged minister rejoiced within himself at being the fortunate messenger of some supreme good to Rama. His guileless soul read the words of Kaikeyi as the commands of his lord, and he hurried on towards the mansion of the prince. He emerged from the palace of Dasaratha as from the depths of the ocean and found himself in the midst of numerous groups of kings of various countries and leading nobles of the city, bearing rare and costly presents to their monarch. Mangalam Koshalendraya, Mahaniya Gunabde, Chakravarti Dhanurjaya, Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam.